Imagine that you are at one of those incredibly large hotel rooms with the ballrooms that they keep opening sections, and you're at the point now where the room holds somewhere between 1,600 and 2,000 people. And you hear clinking glasses and murmurs and laughter. But if you're me and you're walking up to the door, you feel cold sweat running down your back. And your feet feel like lead as you try to make them continue to walk toward the door. I'm on my way to a networking event. Something akin to torture? Because in my perspective previously, networking was having superficial conversations with someone I didn't know. Now, for those of you that are mavens at networking, you're inwardly rolling your eyes and laughing at my silliness and my naivete. And you're right. When I had the assignment from Toastmasters to do networking, I rolled my eyes. And I thought, are you kidding me? I have to do this? Really? And then I dug in and I started looking at the training. And I started learning an awful lot. And what I discovered is that my perspective on networking had been completely wrong. I did a 180-degree reversal on how I looked at networking because of my education. And I realized that the real issue with my attitude was that I was only looking at networking from my perspective. I was focused on me, when I really should have been thinking about the person I was talking to. The assignment that Toastmasters gave me was that, and I was doing this in March, I had to attend a networking event. Yeah, you might be wondering, how in the world are you going to do that in a stay-at-home executive order, Shelly? I thought the same thing. Well, as they say, necessity is the mother of all invention. So I got creative. I volunteered. Our hometown was hosting a fundraising event for our ambulance and fire department, and I volunteered. And I attended completely in the idea of curiosity. I was curious about who would be there, why they were there, and what I might learn from the whole experience. And when I arrived, through social distancing, masks, gloves, and a lot of laughter and chatter, we ended up serving 800 pork chop dinners to drive up folks and deliveries in 2 hours and 10 minutes. Now you can imagine that was quite a process. There were people grilling, and then there was an assembly line that was positioned apart from each other. But we were able to ask questions of each other and have a pretty good time. I learned a couple of things. I learned that if you're curious, you'll learn an awful lot about people just by the way they interact with each other in that situation. I also learned that I have a lot to bring to the process. Turns out that my project management experience allowed me to see some gaps in the process. And when I could point that out or step in and fill that gap, I was valued. And so now the third thing I learned was that when you bring value to the table, even in networking, you're welcomed. So all in told, it was a really cool night. But then the next day I was thinking, okay, so now we're in COVID-19. How do you really network post-COVID-19? So I started scouring the internet, and I found some pretty good ideas that might benefit you as well. The first was be patient. Turns out that if you had asked us 6 months ago, each and every one of us could have given examples of when we had been stressed out. But they were moments in time. The researchers are saying today that most individuals with COVID-19 are in some form of stress almost continuously. You can relate. It might be paying bills, it might be furlough, it might be elderly parents that you can't see, it might be childcare. But to some degree, we're all just a little bit stressed out, much more so than we were 3 months ago. So when you send out a virtual invitation to connect and network, be patient if you don't get a response right away. And the second thing I learned was think about with them. What's in it for me? When you send an invitation to network, think about what can I give to this person that makes them want to talk to me? As some of you may know, I'm starting a new business. So when I'm reaching out to connect to people, I'm always thinking about what do I know about them that would make them want to talk to me? How can I bring value to the conversation that makes it worth their time? And third, which I think is incredible, whether traditional networking or if we're doing virtual networking, is be pragmatic. In other words, think about who, how do I want to connect with them? What do I bring to the table and what do they bring to me? And fourth, when? How often do I want to connect with them? And actually make that pragmatic in how you track it and how you think about approaching people. Know how they want to be talked to and use that format. Is it social media? Is it a phone call? Is it FaceTime? Or is it actually, now that we can do it again, coffee? Social distance, of course. But in review, I've made a complete 180-degree view change on networking because I realized that networking isn't about me. It's about finding opportunities to be helpful to each other. And the environment we're living in today, helpful is wonderful, even if it starts with networking. Mr. Toastmaster,